for general introductions, my name is Amanda Buchanan. I'm Program Manager for UACI. And then my colleague, Gabby Pedrosa, is going to get us started.
Thank you, Amanda. Welcome, everyone. My name is Gabby Pedrosa, and I am the project coordinator at UACI. Today is a session on preparing a successful concept paper as part of the Solar Energy Technology Office, or SETO's Funding Opportunity Announcement, or FOA, for the Solar Energy Supply Chain Incubator. Sonia, can you give me the next slide? Thank you. We are hosting today's session in partnership with the United States Department of Energy and the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. Sonia, next slide. A little bit about the University of Arizona Center of Innovation, or UACI. We are a nonprofit incubator that serves scalable science and technology startups with a particular interest in renewable energy. Next slide. Additionally, UACI is home to the Solar Zone, which is a multi-technology solar demonstration site at the grid level in the United States. This allows us to provide a unique level of support for startups developing in solar innovation. Next slide. UACI is one of many power connectors in the American-made network that serves to support applicants seeking funding through the American-made challenges. Sonia, next slide. As part of this effort, UACI is providing applicant support through educational resources, office hours, and mentoring in partnership with ADL Ventures, EFN, and Ensemble. You're welcome to reach out to any of the contacts listed here for additional support. And we also have a full list of events and activities that is going to be shared. Sonia, next slide. Now I'd like to turn it over to Sonia, who is a subject matter expert in funding strategies and has supported many companies secure government funding successfully. Sonia?
Thank you, Gabby. So I'm not going to spend too much time here, but I'm really happy that UACI has asked me to work with you guys on this DOE FOA. And I've been working with the small businesses and startups for over 20 years now. Particular program that I focus on is the SBIR STTR program. And we talked a little bit about that on the last webinar and the differences with this particular FOA and application process. So for today's webinar, we're going to be focusing on a little bit of a brief on this particular funding opportunity announcement, basically the Solar Energy Supply Chain Incubator. We'll briefly touch on the three topics and general information so that to set up the stage for the concept paper. And then we'll talk into the concept paper in each of the sections and the expectations. And then if there's questions, we'll go through that. So we elaborated on the application process in the last webinar, but I just wanted to remind you that the concept paper is due next week on July 19th. And then the full application will be due in October. So you have plenty of time. And then the ERE will perform initial eligibility review of your concept paper, which is submitted through the exchange. And so if you want to learn how to submit, it was discussed on the previous webinar. You will need a unique entity identifier, or UEI, and you only get one when you register through SAM. So if you haven't registered through SAM, I suggest you do it like today, because if you're lucky, you might get your registration before the concept paper and have that UEI. So once you register, you'll get a control number. Keep track of that because you're going to be needing it on all your documents. So as part of the application process, the concept paper is July 19th. You're going to be receiving information by August 23rd on whether they discourage or they like your idea. And then the full application is October 7th. And probably you'll be getting award negotiations sometime next year. So this is a long process, just so that you keep that in mind and make sure that you have other sources of funding to stay afloat. So an overview of the key information. This is a Department of Energy, Solar Energy Technologies Office, SETO, is the one sponsoring this. The funding opportunity announcement, or FOA, is the 2024 Solar Energy Supply Chain Incubator. And its idea is to build on clean and equitable energy economy, and it's supporting the DOE's decarbonization goals. More details on that you're going to find on the FOA on the background and introduction pages. To be eligible, you have to be a for-profit organization as a prime entity if you want to receive funding for this. And applicants are encouraged to form teams with either national laboratories or other subject matter expert industry members or supply chain partners, whatever makes sense for what you're proposing so that you can form a strong team. And that, if you're interested in teaming, DOE will make available, if it's not already there, teaming partner list. And again, you have to register on the exchange to have access to it. Then you must perform all the work in the United States. If you have any company on your team or any subsidiary of your company that is going to be performing work outside of the United States, you will need a waiver. And I suggest you get that before you even start. New applications are the ones that are accepted for this FOA, and cooperative agreements are good. So in the teaming partner list that you find on the exchange, again, you're highly encouraged to form teams. Ideas for partnerships are with academia, national laboratories, other industry members, supply chain developers, equipment developers, institutions such as minority serving institutions or historically Black colleges and universities. And then DOE will make that list available on the ERE exchange. Keep in mind, your partner must be a U.S. company performing work in the U.S. So as part of an overview, the technologies of interest are photovoltaic technologies, power electronics, grid integration technologies, multi-port systems, structural or electrical balance of systems, hardware, manufacturing process technologies, concentrating solar thermal power systems, photovoltaic thermal collectors, software products, or dual-use PV applications. And more details of these are on the FOA. I just wanted to make sure that you're aware that they make a list of the technologies they want, and in most cases, they also will tell you and discourage you of the things that they're not interested in. So read the solicitation. There's 3 topics, and they have different expectations and different cost sharing for each of these. So keep in mind, the 3 topics are, or 3 topic areas, solar research and technology development, a demonstration, or some kind of outreach and education development program. The estimated funding varies on each of them, and that has to do because of the level of effort and the cost sharing availability. So make sure that you're compliant with these numbers and keep that in mind when you put your estimated funding requirements. Okay, so the topic area 1, the solar research and technology development, they're looking at technologies that are at a technology readiness level, or TRL, between 3 and 5. So you've demonstrated that it can be done. That means proof of concept TRL number 3. But they want to take it a little bit further and demonstrate it in maybe some kind of a control environment. So the FOA provides the technology readiness levels on the appendix. It's very high level description, but it gives you an idea. Proof of concept is TR level 3, and 5, I believe it's control relevant environment. And so like a 4 would be like a laboratory setting. So keep that in mind if you're interested in topic area 1. If you're going for topic area 2 for the solar technology demonstration, you've got to get that prototype or that proof of concept that you've kind of demonstrated it, but now taking it to a TRL level 7, which will be I believe it's going to be the controlled relevant environment or operational environment. I'm sorry, operational. And so this is where it's so important to have good teaming partners here, because if you're a small business that needs to demonstrate your prototype in a operational environment, is it going to be on the ocean? Is it going to be on board a ship? Is it going to be on a building? How are you going to do it? So, right. So think about those kind of ideas when you're looking at your teaming partners, especially in your concept paper. If you're going for area 2, it will be very important that you have strong teaming partnerships. And in the case of topic area 3, where you're doing now a software outreach, educational and development project, start thinking about who you're going to be working in terms of demonstration of an educational project, for instance. And they give you some ideas for the rooftop for PV solar. So the other difference between the topic areas are the cost sharing. And I'm not going to talk about cost sharing. I believe that there's going to be a webinar with one of our partner entities or someone else that will talk about funding and cost sharing. But here I'm just outlining the differences that can go from 20% cost share to a 50% cost share. So keep that in mind. And the cost shares are typically, they could be like an in-kind or cash, but it can't come from federal. You can't match federal to federal. So keep that in mind. And some of the rules and examples are on the FOA as well. Eligibility, we went through this last webinar, but I want to remind you, because when you compose your concept paper, you have to have this in mind. Got to be domestic. You got to be a for-profit, and the subrecipients or your partners can be institutions of higher education, such as like a university, for-profit, nonprofit, state and local entities, or tribal nations. Foreign entities, this needs approval. So if your company is manufacturing or don't demonstrate outside of the United States. Just that would not be a good idea. It's like, but if that's how it has to be done, you need a waiver. And then you could be an incorporated consortia or unincorporated. Compliance criteria. You have to comply with all the content and form requirements. All that is specifically described on the FOA. You've got to submit all the requirement documents. They've got to be uploaded on the exchange. There are no exceptions to deadlines. So you miss a deadline, you're out. You submit your content papers and full applications. I suggest at least 48 hours before the deadline, because Murphy's Law always creeps up at the last minute and the last day. So that's my recommendation. Don't wait till 5 minutes before it's due. And you can submit more than one concept paper, but keep in mind that they have to be completely distinct ideas and innovations, right? The application submission information, they've got to be PDF form files. They've got to be written in English. They've got to be standard 8x5 by 11, 1-inch margins. This is their suggested calibre 12 point. Keep the control number because you're going to use it inside the documents, as well as the naming convention. Page footers go on the bottom of each page. Don't exceed max page count. Any questions go through the exchange when it comes to application and submission. And you could always rely on the partners here supporting the DOE on this FOA, which Gabby mentioned earlier with ADL, Ensemble, EFN, and the UACI. Don't exceed the maximum size. Okay, we'll get into the concept paper. So if you look at the FOA, it gives you more details on the concept paper, but I've summarized them in this table. Cover page takes 1 page. Technology or description will be maximum 4 pages, and then your addendum, which is where you describe your qualifications and your team, and those details no more than 2 pages. So you're looking at 7 pages max. So let's go into the details of each of these. So 1 page for the cover page. Your title, project title, the topic area you're going, 1, 2, or 3. Who are going to be your technical and business point of context at the company submitting the proposal. The same for all your team members. Where you're going to be doing the work, and a confidentiality statement. The technology description, or the 4 pages, this is where you get to brag about your company. I mean, about your innovation and company. But talk about what you're proposing, how it fits the technology area you're going to be talking about, and the target level of performance, and how you're going to meet that performance that with the objective, right? So if you describe that carefully, what are you going to be going after, how you're going to meet those objectives or performance objective. What's the current state of the art? Are you starting with a 3, a 5, a 7 TRL? And the industry, state of the art of the industry, and what are they missing? What are their current challenges, and how your proposed technology is going to be overcome, how it's going to be impacting the industry or the environment that you're going to be demonstrating this, and where you're going to do it, and why you're going to be doing it there, the reason behind the location. And you also have to address the risks and issues with your approach and your technology, and how you're going to overcome this. And then why the funding from ERE is going to be so important for demonstrating this project. And so this is only 4 pages. Make sure that you're concise and to the point, so that you can make the best case for your innovation. The addendum is where you get to brag about your team and your expertise and your past performance, your capabilities. So you've got also only 2 pages. So make sure you're concise and explain who the principal investigator is going to be on your team, and what their skills and expertise are, what prior experience you might have, or anybody on your team, that could be your partners as well, and that wherever you're going to do it, there are going to be adequate facilities and you have the equipment to do it. You could have charts, you can have graphs, anything that you think is required to make your case and to have a compelling concept paper. This is how they're going to review your concept paper. Okay, so you have to be very clear on how you describe your technology. What's unique about it? What's innovative about it? How will your technology advance that current state of the art? So I touch a little bit that how are things being done now, and why your technology is going to advance it. And then you're going to be talking about the risks and challenges. And you have to make the reviewer aware that you are aware of what these risks and challenges are. And some might be low, some might be high. but your proposed approach should take advantage of the fact that you will have some strengths. You recognize your weaknesses and you know how you're going to overcome them. All right. So don't assume that there's not going to be any risks, because that will just make people doubt that you understand what you're doing. So make sure, even if they're low risks, outline them. And then you're going to be reviewed against the qualifications of your team. And can you accomplish the job that you're proposing to do? Make sure that you clearly outline the objectives and you relate them to the objectives of the FOA, right? If you don't clearly address all the objectives of the FOA for the topic that you're going after, it could be considered a non-responsive concept paper. The award notices, so there's going to be a couple of ways. So either they'll tell you that it's an ineligible, and you're going to get an email, and then they're going to tell you why it's ineligible. That doesn't mean that you are not going to be able to submit, but they're going to discourage you from doing so, and why. So if you choose to continue, you better have a way to address the issues they found with your concept paper. Everything will go through the exchange, and assuming you get, a good review on your concept paper, then you will submit your full application on the exchange as well. And I can't tell you to go or no go on your concept paper after you get, don't wait until you get that discouraged or no or thumbs up later on to start your full application, because it takes time to write a good proposal. So you have to believe that there's a good match, that you have a really good innovation, and that you have a strong team. So identify your team, create a proposal plan, who's going to do what, when, create a master proposal outline, the contents, right? So that you could use for a template and so that you could start populating it, have a schedule, including the concept paper, which is due next week. And then I suggest that you have weekly proposal team reviews, and that you have an interim for a solid draft, and then a final team review. Okay, summarizing: start early, register early. That means, Sam, hopefully by now you all have active registrations. Read the solicitation top to bottom. Read it carefully. If you have questions, ask us. If we don't know the answer, we might know who has the answer. Concept papers due next week on the 19th by 5 p.m. ET, no exceptions. If you don't submit a concept paper, you cannot submit a full application. The next webinar will be on August 23rd, and we're going to be focusing then on how to write that full application. So, any questions?